I always thought my family was like any other. Predictable, stable, and above all, normal. That illusion shattered on a rainy Saturday afternoon when I stumbled upon the first piece of the puzzle that would change everything. The day started innocently enough. My parents were out running errands, and my younger brother Sam was at a friend's house. I had the house to myself, and I decided to take advantage of the solitude to do a bit of exploring in the attic. I was looking for some old childhood toys, hoping to relive simpler times. Instead, I found something that would haunt me forever. The attic was a dusty, forgotten realm of our house, filled with old furniture, boxes of holiday decorations, and mysterious crates that hadn't been opened in years. I was rummaging through an old trunk when I found a manila folder hidden under a pile of yellowed newspapers. Curiosity piqued, I pulled it out and opened it. Inside were legal documents and a series of letters. At first, the official language and bureaucratic jargon made no sense to me, but as I sifted through them, a chilling narrative began to emerge. My eyes widened as I read through the paperwork. Adoption records, financial transactions, and, most disturbingly, agreements that referenced a transfer of custody for a sum of money. My heart pounded in my chest as I realized these documents were about Sam. Frantic, I delved deeper into the folder. The letters, dated over a decade ago, were correspondences between my parents and a third party, discussing terms and conditions for what seemed like a business deal. Only, this wasn't any ordinary business deal. It was about my brother. One letter, in particular, caught my eye. It was from a man named Victor, congratulating my parents on the successful transaction and offering assurances about the legitimacy of the process. My hands trembled as I clutched the papers. The room spun around me. This couldn't be true. Sam was adopted, yes, but sold? It was unthinkable. My parents had always told us that Sam's adoption was a beautiful, selfless act of love. But these documents painted a different, much darker picture. In a daze, I stumbled down the attic stairs and into the living room, clutching the folder as if it were a lifeline. My mind raced with questions and fears. How could they do this? Did Sam know? What did this mean for our family? I paced the room, trying to make sense of it all, but the more I thought about it, the more surreal it became. Hours later, my parents returned home. I was waiting for them in the kitchen, the folder placed conspicuously on the table. My mother walked in first, followed by my father, both of them carrying grocery bags and chatting about mundane things. Their smiles faded when they saw my expression and the folder on the table. "Alex, what's going on?" my mother asked, setting the bags down. I pointed to the folder. "What is this?" My father's face paled as he recognized the documents. He exchanged a quick, worried glance with my mother. "Where did you find this?" he asked, his voice tight. "In the attic. It was hidden away." "What does it mean? Did you really sell Sam?" My mother's eyes welled with tears, and my father's jaw clenched. "Alex, it's not what you think," my mother began, her voice trembling. "We can explain." "Then explain," I demanded, my voice rising, "because right now, it looks like you bought Sam like he was some kind of commodity." My father took a deep breath. "It's complicated, Alex. Sam's adoption wasn't conventional. We were desperate to have another child, and when the opportunity came, we paid for him," I interrupted, my voice cold. "You paid for my brother like he was a product, not a person." Tears streamed down my mother's face. "We love Sam. He's our son, your brother. We did what we thought was best. But why lie to us? Why hide it?" "We were afraid," my father admitted. "Afraid of what people would think. Afraid of how it would affect you and Sam. We never wanted this to come out like this." The betrayal cut deep. The parents I thought I knew had been hiding a terrible secret. I felt a mix of anger, sadness, and confusion. I didn't know what to believe anymore. "I need time to think," I said, turning away from them. "I can't deal with this right now." I fled the house, the weight of their secret pressing down on me. My mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. What did this mean for Sam? For our family? As I walked aimlessly through the rain-soaked streets, one thing was clear. I couldn't rest until I uncovered the full truth about my brother's past. The following days felt like I was living someone else's life. Every glance from my parents carried a weight of unspoken apologies, and every moment with Sam was tinged with a newfound awareness of the secret hanging over us. But there was no going back. I needed to know the full truth, no matter the cost. Determined to get to the bottom of this, I enlisted the help of my best friend, Mia. She was tech-savvy and fearless, the perfect partner in this clandestine investigation. I shared everything I had found, and her initial shock quickly turned into a fierce determination. "We need to find out who this Victor guy is," Mia said, scanning the letters and documents laid out on her bedroom floor. "He's the key to all of this." We started with the limited information in the letters. Victor's full name was Victor Collins, and his correspondence was sent from an address in a city about 2 hours away. With a mix of trepidation and resolve, we decided to make the trip, armed with only the scant details from the letters and our wits. The drive was tense. Mia and I spoke in hushed tones, planning our approach. We arrived at the address, a nondescript office building that seemed far too ordinary to be the center of such a sinister plot. We parked a few blocks away and walked, trying to blend in with the bustling city crowd. Inside, we found a directory listing Collins Enterprises on the 5th floor. Taking the elevator up, my heart pounded with each floor we passed. When we reached the office, the door was locked, and the frosted glass gave no clue as to what lay inside. We needed another way in. Mia's skills came in handy as she quickly hacked into the building's Wi-Fi. From there, she accessed the security cameras and found an opportune moment when the office was empty. Using a small lock-picking kit she had, we managed to slip inside. The office was sparse but efficient, with filing cabinets lining the walls and a sleek desk in the center. We didn't have much time. Mia stationed herself at the computer while I rifled through the filing cabinets, searching for anything that could shed light on Victor's dealings. Minutes later, Mia let out a low whistle. "Alex, you need to see this." I rushed over to the screen. Mia had uncovered a series of encrypted files, but one of them was partially decrypted. It detailed transactions and client lists, and to our horror, we found references to multiple transfers of children, including dates and amounts paid. This was bigger than just Sam. Victor Collins was part of a child trafficking ring. We copied as much information as we could onto a flash drive and hurried out, our minds reeling with the implications. As we exited the building, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up, but we made it back to the car without incident. That night, as we pored over the data in Mia's room, the scope of the operation became clearer. This wasn't just about Sam. Dozens of children had been bought and sold through this network. We needed more evidence, and we needed to bring it to the authorities. But we also had to be careful. If Victor or his associates realized what we were doing, we could be in serious danger. The next few days were a blur of clandestine meetings and paranoid glances over our shoulders. Mia's hacking skills proved invaluable as we delved deeper into the network, uncovering connections and piecing together the puzzle. We decided to reach out to a journalist known for exposing corruption, hoping to blow the lid off the entire operation. However, our activities hadn't gone unnoticed. Late one night, as I was walking home from Mia's, a black car followed me. Panic set in, and I ducked into an alley, trying to lose my pursuer. My heart raced as I darted through the labyrinth of back streets, finally finding refuge behind a dumpster. Breathing heavily, I pulled out my phone and called Mia. "I'm being followed. I think they know." "Get to my place now," she said. "We need to go to the police. We have enough evidence." I managed to shake off the car and made it to Mia's house, adrenaline coursing through my veins. Together, we drove to the nearest police station, armed with our flash drive and the determination to end this nightmare. The officers were skeptical at first, But as we presented our findings, their attitudes shifted. An investigation was launched, and for the first time since uncovering the secret, I felt a glimmer of hope. The network would be exposed, and Sam's past would finally be brought to light. But the danger was far from over. As the investigation gained momentum, so did the threats. Anonymous calls, shadowy figures lurking near our homes. It was clear Victor's associates were desperate to keep their secrets buried. The final showdown was approaching, and we had to be ready for whatever came next. The tension was unbearable. Every creak in the house, every passing car, felt like a prelude to an imminent attack. Mia and I stayed vigilant, knowing that our every move was likely being watched. The police had taken our evidence seriously, launching an investigation that quickly gained traction. But as the net closed in on Victor and his associates, the danger to us only grew. One evening, just as the sun dipped below the horizon, we received a call from the lead detective on the case, Detective Ramirez. "We've made significant progress," he said, his voice a blend of determination and caution. "But we need one more piece of evidence to take them down completely. A ledger that we believe is hidden in Victor's main office. Can you get it?" Mia and I exchanged a glance. It was a monumental risk, but we knew this was our chance to put an end to the nightmare. "We'll do it," I said, my voice steady, despite the fear gnawing at my insides. That night, we gathered our gear and made our way back to the office building. This time, we were prepared for the worst. Armed with flashlights, gloves, and a plan, we slipped inside, avoiding the security cameras Mia had hacked into earlier. The office was eerily quiet, the kind of silence that amplifies every small sound. We quickly made our way to Victor's office, our footsteps muffled by the thick carpet. Mia worked on the computer, while I searched the drawers and cabinets for the elusive ledger. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed down the hallway. My heart raced as I signaled to Mia to hurry. She worked furiously, her fingers flying over the keyboard. The footsteps grew louder, and I knew we were running out of time. Finally, Mia found the encrypted ledger. She transferred it to a flash drive just as the door burst open. Victor himself stood there, flanked by two burly men. His eyes burned with anger. "You shouldn't have meddled in things you don't understand," he snarled. Instinctively, I grabbed the nearest object, a heavy paperweight, and hurled it at one of the men. It struck him in the chest, buying us a precious few seconds. Mia and I bolted for the door, sprinting down the hallway with Victor and his thugs in hot pursuit. We raced down the stairwell, the sound of their pursuit echoing ominously behind us. Bursting through the exit, we found ourselves in the alley behind the building. I glanced back, catching a glimpse of Victor's furious face as he emerged from the stairwell. Just as we thought we were cornered, police sirens wailed in the distance. Detective Ramirez had been monitoring the situation remotely, and his timely arrival was our saving grace. The alley flooded with flashing lights as officers swarmed, arresting Victor and his men. Relief washed over me as I watched Victor being led away in handcuffs. The nightmare was finally over. Mia and I handed over the flash drive to Ramirez, who assured us this was the final nail in the coffin for Victor's operation. In the weeks that followed, the full extent of Victor's crimes came to light. The trafficking ring was dismantled, and numerous children were rescued, their lives forever changed by the exposure of the heinous network. My parents and I had many long, tearful conversations about the past. They explained their desperation and fear, and while their actions were inexcusable, we began the slow process of rebuilding our trust. Sam, blissfully unaware of the true nature of his adoption, remained the happy, spirited boy he'd always been. We decided to tell him the truth when he was older, when he could fully understand and process the complexities of his origins. The media storm that followed the case was intense. Reporters camped outside our house, and our faces were plastered across the news. But amidst the chaos, there was a sense of justice and closure. We had done the right thing, exposing a monstrous crime and saving countless lives. As for Mia and me, our friendship grew stronger through the ordeal. We became local heroes, though we never sought the limelight. Our only goal had been to uncover the truth and protect those we loved. The experience changed me in ways I couldn't have imagined. I learned the value of courage, the importance of seeking justice, and the strength that comes from standing up for what's right, even when the odds are against you. In the end, we emerged from the darkness with a newfound sense of purpose and a deeper bond as a family. The shadows of the past still lingered, but we faced them together, ready to embrace a future built on truth and trust.